Hello everybody and welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Kayla Rundle and I may look a little different because I did dye my hair a little red. Today we are working on the green E30. I have completely restored this vehicle in another one of my videos. I have new wheels on it. The brake caliper has broken off the car and I replaced it, but now that caused some damage to the brake shield and the front hubs. So today I'm replacing the front hubs on the car, which I've never replaced front hubs on any of my cars ever. We are also installing new pads and rotors. I am going with R1 Concepts because this is a OEM vehicle, so I'm not changing the brake design or do a crazy upgrade on this car since it is a daily driver. I chose R1 Concepts to improve the daily driving capabilities and just getting new brakes on this car with a slight upgrade from factory. So it's exactly what I use the car for, or mostly Sam uses the car for. I got front hubs here. Ordered these, they took a while to get in, and they are 4-lug, which I am also going to be doing a 5-lug swap on my blue E30, so stay tuned for that. But these are cool because it comes with the bearing, as you can see, so we're gonna have to chisel off that bearing on the front. These are the brakes from R1 Concepts. I went with the Euro Ceramic Series brake pads because these are very high quality and stick with the European composition and style of driving, keeping it pretty much stock. This looks like some brake hardware with pins that we might need. The rotors. Let's see how cute these look. It's already starting to get hot here in Arizona, unfortunately. My garage door is open and I'm already on fire. Woo! Went with drilled and slotted because I love the look of these on the car. I think it's aggressive styling. Those look like the rears with the deeper offset. Oh my gosh, these are the tiniest brake pads I've ever seen in my life. It's the length of my pinky. That's how tiny they are on this car, but it is a really tiny car. It's just impressive that the car stops with that tiny little bitty pad. Mocha is not fazed by me at all. She's used to crazy Kayla. Well, I have the wheels off of the front of the car and we're gonna be replacing the hubs. So I'm going to start taking off the caliper, the rotor, and try to get that hub off with the tools I rented from my local auto parts store. So I just removed the 2 little screws that hold the caliper onto the caliper bracket. I'll slide this sucker off. And there it comes. So the fronts on this car were the only thing that's been replaced somewhat recently. So you can see that there's a little bit of life left in them. You can tell the rotor on the front isn't as bad, but the way I test if I know I need new brakes is if I feel like the lip of the rotor here and here, and there's usually it should be flat. If I feel it and there's a giant dip down on the edges, that's usually what tells me that I need new rotors. Because all the grooves in the pad end up matching the grooves on the rotor, and it's nicer to have a fresh setup. But you can see there's a little bit of rust on the rotor, but not a lot. And it's gonna be nice to have new hubs and bearings. Ooh, that's on tight. Ooh. I don't know how those flew off because these were on so tight. Now, it wasn't this side that flew off, it was the other side. Sam was driving down the street and the caliper bolts decided to fail and the caliper got stuck in the Workmeister wheels and scratched it up. So I'm just taking out 2 of the caliper bracket bolts, which they are both 19mm. I'm not using power tools because easier to finesse this stuff by hand. Power tools, sometimes I end up stripping and breaking bolts. There's one. Now when I put this back together, I'm for sure using Loctite. That reduces the possibility of vibrations taking these bolts out as you drive. Especially with older cars, there's a lot more vibrations. And that's the other bolt. And the bracket comes off. This is what the bracket looks like. The two bolts are on just the back here, holding it together. It's nice having my car all color-coded because you can see where the yellow leads, and there would be two bolts. And then here is where the tiny little 13mm bolts were, and just loosen those guys up. Sometimes you have to have a wrench to hold this nut while you're getting the other bolt out of there. But these are pretty seized up, so I didn't have to hold it. All right, now to get the rotor off, there is the rotor set screw, which is the dreaded little screw in these rotors. I'm hoping that whoever installed these last put some anti-seize so that little bolt might be nice to me. We'll see. Let's figure out what size she is. How is it? The first one I pick fits perfect. It's an H5. H5, just the first choice. Let's see if this guy comes loose. Woo! And there she is. The little set screw came out easy for us. Is this seized up is the question? Come on. Oh no. Oh, there she goes. And there's the rotor. The back of it's kind of rusted from the rusty hub, you can see. But unfortunately, I think I'm gonna have to take out all of my studs that we just put in it. I didn't even think about that. There we go. Holy moly. So I put in these studs when I did the car to make it easier to put the wheels on and off. So you can see this part is into the hub, and then you have this little hex key or whatever you put in there, and you take it off with this. Power tools is the easiest thing since it spins. And these have red Loctite on them, so it is not easy to get them out. Boom, boom, boom. So to show you guys, this is the dust cap. They don't make these anymore, so if you have this, you are rich. This is my very unhappy stud. And it's very unbalanced now because there's one stud in it. We're gonna chisel this off. You can see like someone chiseled it off before right here, and this will just pop right out. I'm finally starting to get this little bearing out. It's finally starting to slide out. Oh! That thing was sealed on in there. I only mangled it like a little bit there and a little bit flared it on this side. Not too shabby. This is like 150 bucks or something. This is like pure gold. I feel like I might take my Milwaukee. Cold ball, baby. Rip that thing off. And my glove. Oh my gosh. That came right off. There's the nut. It had this little tab that you like hammer in, so try to chisel that guy out, otherwise it won't spin easily. Oh yeah, that's off. So literally the ball in there is broken. I can't believe that went that easy, honestly. Now I'm just taking off this little rental tool I got. I only connected it by these two little lugs, and it worked perfect. I do my little lug nuts, and the tool right on the hub. This is a universal tool, so it works for like most cars. And it ripped her off. This is the old guy. And I can't forget, I gotta take off these studs for the new setup, but that's incredible. These balls flew out because the bearing is still on the hub up there. So there's this part of the bearing left on it, and you just gotta chisel that away from the center of the car to get that off, and then we can install the new one. I got nervous there for a second. I'm wearing headphones because it's super loud hammering on metal and wood. My ears are super sensitive. I got nervous because the bearing was kind of coming out, and I thought I broke it, but I used the bearing that I took off from the other one and put it in the center, so I'm pushing on the metal bearing itself, and hammered that center part in a few times, so then my nut would be able to grab fine, and that ended up working. Now she's good. I'm just gonna hammer in these tabs back in on the axle nut, and you're supposed to torque it to 240 foot-pounds of torque, and this feels completely different. It's like kind of heavy to turn now. Way different than before. And then I'm gonna reinstall the R1 Concepts brakes back on here. So we're gonna have a whole new front and rear on this car. Now it is time for the brand new R1 Concepts brakes. So these studs are not factory, these are aftermarket, and I will be torquing those down later. Get this guy on. Line up the rotor screw. I'm gonna use the one I had before since that worked fine. And don't put that rotor screw in very heavy. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna put the caliper bracket on. I'm gonna use a little bit of blue thread locker on the caliper bracket bolts. Learned my mistake on that. And I cleaned up the nice caliper bracket. To secure the actual caliper on, R1 Concepts includes these two little bolts. So I'm gonna put those on to secure it on.